All right, let's dive right in. Today, we are talking about one of the coolest tools in all of DeFi, concentrated liquidity pools. We're going to break down how you can use them to turn your crypto that's just sitting there into something that's actually working for you. I mean, let's be real. You look at your wallet, you see your assets, and you kind of wonder, could this be doing more? What if you could put it to work earning fees from all the trading that's happening 24/7? Well, that is exactly what we're going to get into. And we've got a guide for our adventure today. So think of this as your own personal tour. We're going to give you the map, the compass, everything you need to start navigating the wild world of liquidity pools. Okay, first things first. We have to understand the absolute heart of how this whole thing works. Is a liquidity pool. I know you've heard the term, but let's make it super clear because it's the foundation for everything else. The easiest way to think about it is like a giant pot of money that the community owns together. So instead of traders going to some big company to swap tokens, they just swap with this pot. And who fills it up? Well, people like you. They're called liquidity providers.
So when you add your tokens to the pool, you're literally putting your assets in the driver's seat. You're providing the fuel, the liquidity that makes all the trading possible. And in return for that, you get paid. You earn a piece of the fees from every single swap that happens.
But hang on, it's not quite as simple as just throwing your money into any old pool. See, they're not all the same. They come in different flavors with totally different risks and rewards. You absolutely have to know the difference before you jump in. You can pretty much group them into three main categories. I like to think of them as different neighborhoods in a city. Each one has a completely different vibe, from the super fast-paced, maybe a little dangerous downtown to the sleepy, predictable suburbs. Let's take a walk through them. So first, you've got the wild side, volatile pools. This is where you pair two tokens whose prices go all over the place, like WIF and SOL. It's high risk, but potential for high rewards. Then you have the middle ground, pairing a volatile coin like ETH with a stable coin like USDT. That kind of balances things out. And finally, you have the quiet suburbs, stable pools, just pairing two stable coins like USDT and USDC. This is your safest bet. So the question is, who are you? Are you the superhero beaver, soaring through the skies, chasing those huge returns but also facing bigger risks? Or are you the chill beaver on the scooter, just cruising along a safe, steady path for a more predictable ride? Look, there is no right answer here, but you've got to know your own style. Okay, so you know the different types of pools now, but how do you actually pick a good one? What are the key numbers you should be looking for? This is where we get into the actual strategy. It really boils down to two big ideas: safety and profit. For safety, you look at the size of the pool. A bigger pool is usually a safer pool. But for profit, that's all about trading volume. Volume is what makes you money. And here's the key. The biggest pool is not always the most profitable one. So let's hit that safety metric first. The number one thing to look for is a pool's TVL, which stands for total value locked. It's just a fancy way of saying how much money in total is in this pool right now. It's a great measure of the pool's size and how much trust people have in it. And some of these pools get absolutely massive. For example, a big, well-known pool like SOL USDC can have a TVL of $310 million. When you see a number that big, it tells you this is a deep, established, and pretty safe place to be. But remember, safety is only half the picture. The second number you need to look at is the 24-hour trading volume. This number is your profit engine. It tells you how much action is happening. The more volume, the more trades, and the more fees are getting kicked back to you.
And this is where it gets really interesting. You might see a different pool, maybe for a newer, hotter coin like with USDC, and it's doing $11 million in volume in just 24 hours. That is a ton of activity.
Okay, now let's put it all together. You've got that giant SOL USDC pool, right? $310 million in it. But it might only be doing, say, 2 million in trades each day. Meanwhile, that much smaller WIF USDC pool, it only has 29 million locked up, but it's doing 11 million in volume. You see what's happening? The so-called safer, bigger pool isn't making nearly as many fees as the smaller, riskier, but way more active one. So let me say it again. Size doesn't equal profit. Activity equals profit. And that brings us to the core reason why. Why is that small pool so busy? One word: volatility. It's that classic rule of finance. The more volatile the asset is, the bigger the returns will be. Traders love that action, which drives up the volume and the fees. But, and this is a huge but, that same volatility means a much bigger risk of losses. It cuts both ways. So what's the big takeaway from all this? Well, it all comes down to a choice that you have to make. It's about understanding that constant trade-off between risk and reward and figuring out where you want to plant your flag. And here's a fantastic rule of thumb to keep in your back pocket. Low MC, or low market cap coins, think new, smaller projects, they usually offer a shot at high returns, but they come with big risk. High market cap coins, your big established players, it's the exact opposite. Generally safer, but probably more modest returns. And just like that, our tour is over. You get it now. You know what a liquidity pool is, you know the three main types, and you know the critical difference between checking TVL for safety and checking volume for profit. You've got the basic toolkit to start looking at this for yourself. So I'll just leave you with this one question to think about. What kind of risk fits your journey? Are you trying to catch lightning in a bottle with that high volume, high risk action? Or are you building for the long haul with slow and steady returns? There's no wrong answer, but now you have the tools to actually make that choice. The decision is all yours.